Hi everyone, this is Karen Whooley, and this is video number 3 for our Queen of Hearts shawl. And you can see right here that I have gotten about 3 repeats of the checkerboard, and I have come to where the smokestack is finished and the new color asphalt is ready to start. So I'm going to show you how to do a Russian join so that when you're crocheting along, you don't have to worry about changing colors in the middle. Now, I don't recommend doing this Russian join before you start the crochet project. I recommend that you do the slip knots like I did when I showed you how to wind the yarn into one big cake, because you never know where it's going to land, and sometimes the Russian join won't be in a good spot. So in this case, we're in the middle of a row here. I've got one more side of, side of the shawl or section of the shawl to complete before I get to the end of the row. So a Russian join right here is actually going to be a good thing. So what I'm going to do, first of all, is I'm going to take out these loops here so that the yarns are separated now. And I'm going to move the shawl and the out of the way so you guys can see what I'm doing here. But I am going to put the hook back in so I don't lose that loop. Okay, so now I have 2 strands, separate yarn. And the way to do a Russian join is you put one of, it doesn't matter which side you do first, but I'm going to do the asphalt first because it's right here and there's a knot right there, so I need to cut that off. Let me grab that. I forgot I had left the little knots on these. Okay, so what you do is you thread the needle and make sure you have a little bit of a tail, but not too long of a tail. And once the needle is threaded, you take the needle, and you'll notice here I have a little bit of a tail, but not too much. And you will take the needle and you will split the fibers. I don't know if you can see that. I'm splitting the fibers and I'm kind of wrapping it around the needle. So I went in and then I kind of wrapped it from back to front and did it again here. So I do it about 3 times. And then what I do is I pull the tail through what I just did, but I try not, see how there's a loop right here? I try not to let that loop tighten up too much. So I pull the tail through, and sometimes it takes a little work. I'm gonna bring it down here so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. So there's the tail. So what's happened now, I'm going to take the needle out. There's the strand is worked through itself, but you've got a loop here. So now what you do, I'm going to put that loop down and take the other end. And again, it doesn't matter which side you start with. Leave a tail, but before you wind it into itself, you're going to put the needle through that loop. Now, because I'm close to my fabric, I'm going to have to bring it a little closer. We pull it through so that the tail comes all the way through, and you'll see that we're attached here. Now what you're going to do is the same thing I did before, is take the needle and split the yarn I'm going to do it 3 times. And this time, if it tightens up too much, that's okay, because they're now locked together. I don't know if you guys can see that there, but you can see where the 2 yarns are locked inside of each other in loops. Okay, so I pulled the tail through. Now there's the 2 loops. Here's the smokestack and here's the asphalt. You can see those. Then what you do is you take the 2 tails and you pull them tight. And this smokestack didn't want to pull tight, so I'm going to pull that tighter. It could be because it's close to the fabric. So I'm going to move the fabric up. Now you can see that they're joined with these 2 tails. Now what I do is I leave these 2 tails there. I'm going to do a few stitches here so you can see how this all comes together. So I'm in the corner, so I'm doing my corner cluster. Oops, 2. And then now you see the tail is here at the work. What I do is I make sure that tail stays to the back of the work. And then I just do the Russian join, or I just do the stitch including that extra thick fabric of the Russian join. I can't say that word today, guys. So you see there that the Russian join, I'm starting with the new yarn. I make sure both tails are at the back of the work. So here's the first tail, here's the second tail, so they're both right here. So you see both tails are right here. And then I finish that stitch, and then I just continue crocheting as I go along. Now I'm going to do one more cluster here, and then I'm going to talk about those tails. And then the chain 2. Okay, so, and actually here, so now we have these 2 tails. Mine are pretty short, and that's about okay. That's about right for what I do. If you feel like you need to leave them longer, go ahead and leave them a little bit longer. But then once your shawl is done, and right before you block, just weave these tails in. You definitely want to weave them in, because that knot is not something that won't unslip itself. I mean, it's worked into your stitches, so it shouldn't unslip too quickly, but if you don't weave those tails in, it will eventually work itself out. So you want to make sure you weave those tails in, and then once those tails are in, you're good to go. It shouldn't have any issues with the Russian join coming undone at that point. So I hope that was helpful with this pattern, and I will talk to you next time.